We're doing it live. And just like that, we're live on the internet.
I am the host now. How did that happen? All right. We are
And just like that, we lost Robert. And
Yep.
with the Starlink.
Welcome to Paramotor Nation, everybody.
Yeah,
There you go, Dave.
Sean's
Take it from
taking
here.
over
Guess who's back?
for Robert. Yeah. So
We just lost.
so what's gonna be the topic today, Sean, since you're the host?
Well,
I think you're muted.
We've got
Oh, you're muted.
Oh,
You're talking through my microphone.
well, that's all right. I'm talking through David Wolfe's microphone. I'm actually sitting with him at Dave Purden's fly-in.
That's better.
Yeah.
Wow, we lost the host.
Oh man.
We lost the host with Starlink. So maybe he'll get his money back. I don't know.
That is so funny.
We are live.
All right, let's do it. Let's just do it like we're gonna do
Right.
it. So welcome everybody to paraglidingtalk.com. I am your host and guest, David Wolfe. Nice to see you all again. Welcome everybody in the chat. I see Robert Michaels in the chat. Thanks for joining us.
He couldn't
Yeah, should we let him in?
He couldn't
You know?
let that out.
Right.
Got it.
What?
There we go.
There you go.
Now we're back.
Always a good
Right.
time.
I guess if you click that button that says leave meeting, it like totally messes up your stream. I don't know what just happened
For
there.
a second, I thought we were on Sunday night. It was such a
Yeah,
bad-
that was awesome. So I'm glad to see that you're all still here. That's good. I'm just going to click a few buttons here and make sure I don't do that again. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michaels. You're joined tonight by David Wolfe at an undisclosed area, somewhere at a fly-in, somewhere in America. Also,
feet away
in
from-
moderation,
Sean Asker.
yep, Sean Nasker. He's somewhere, and it looks he has a beautiful view, beautiful view there in the background. Scott's in moderation. I want to mention just a couple of sponsors. One of those is PPG Smoke. I want to let you know that PPG Smoke has some amazing things on their website. PPGsmoke.com is the website. Go check them out. Get signed up for the next batch of the Unity headsets because they're amazing. And also Chase Cams, Lamels, the flotation. He's went through a couple versions of each of these components that you're really going to appreciate. He's a master. He's engineered some really cool stuff. So go check out PPG Smoke. And I know a lot of people give him a hard time. He spent a lot of money, a lot of energy to make the Unity headset. And I've heard people talk smack. You go make something. You try it. You try it yourself. You try to engineer something before you talk smack because you're just a consumer. Think about what you're doing. But anyways, amazing. I got the new headset. He sent me a free pair because I support the show, or I support his stuff, and absolutely love it. So go check out his website. Also want to mention paramotorprops.com. You accidentally blow up a prop. It happens. Right, Gringo? Actually, technically, you didn't blow up the prop.
Doesn't matter, but I need a new one.
It's a
Too soon.
there's a
It literally had 6 minutes of flight.
Yeah.
I think that was a long.
oh man. Yeah. So anyways,
Where's this place? Where can I get another one?
paramotorprops.com. Paramotorprops.com's website. Go check them out. Also want to mention a couple new sponsors. They're not new anymore, I guess. Harley Milne. He runs a school here in Southern California. His website is dreamlifterparamotors.com. You want to get some good training, and this guy's got the goods because he's flown coast to coast. He's done all 50 states. He's done some world record stuff, and he's got just a really good head on his shoulders for adventure flying. So you want to get better at your adventure flying stuff? Harley Milne.
Pretty much more than any of us have done. So yeah.
Yeah, literally. Also want to mention Andrew Fuller. Andrew Fuller has a full service wing repair and checkup shop. He also does repacks on your reserves. And then also he does SIV clinics, I think, throughout the year. Talk to him, go to his website, and you'll see the link in the description. It's kind of a weird one, but it's paraglider-inspection.myshopify.com. You want to get a hold of him, get something taken care of. It is amazing. Dave Wolfe, thank you for logging in and jumping on the show. I'm super stoked about, if you guys don't know Dave has, he had one of the most successful paramotor talk, I'll say live stream or YouTube with content. It was called Our Paramotor Nation. Our Paramotor Nation was like the thing to go and watch. What was it, like Sunday nights?
It was Sunday nights, but it was the second
Yeah.
best years.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm just good on Thursday nights.
All right.
Yeah, mine's okay. But
Mine
his was
the
very
best one on
organized.
Sunday night.
He actually took it very seriously and organized it and had really good sponsors and videos and all this stuff. I don't care enough. I just want to go fly. And so my stuff is kind of cavemanish. But tonight we're going to talk about his newest adventure, which involves some podcasting. And so he's got a new podcast. The name of it is Beyond the Summit. Can you screen share Beyond the Summit, what you showed a little while ago on Spotify or whatever? There it is, Beyond the Summit. So if you want to check him out, you can do that by going on your local podcast, maybe on Apple's podcast, Beyond the Summit. It's not easy to get Apple to accept your podcast, by the way. It took me a while to make that work. So super cool. If you want to check that out, go to the podcasts, and don't do it right now. You can do it later. Spotify, yep, Beyond the Summit. Super cool. I like your logo. I'm going to need some of those stickers probably.
I'm gonna have to make them.
Oh, you haven't made any yet?
Not yet.
We need to get that done. Somebody needs to make that happen. So also, yeah, it's probably going to be your wife. No, she's kind of the leader of the family, right?
She is
One
the
that
leader.
handles all that stuff.
She passes the buck off to me.
I wear the pants in my family. She just tells me which ones to wear.
Oh, there you go.
That's how that works around here. So anyways, Our Paramotor Nation, him and Rip and also Gorilla for a while there. And Dave Ruff, Dave Ruff's in the chat. I think Dave even had his own show at one point in time. That was super cool. Kind of missed those. But there is like this thing, I think after paragliding talk and then the paramotoring show, that spawned a whole bunch of other shows. And somebody asked me, they were like, aren't they just mocking you? They're making, stealing your thunder. And I'm like, no, dude, that's exactly what we want to happen. Like, get people talking about paragliding and safety and so we don't get burned. Cause I've heard some horror stories of people buying equipment from guys that shouldn't have been selling equipment and getting training from guys that shouldn't have been training. And we can go down the line. And so I think all of our shows have made, I think we've made paramotoring and paragliding and flying in general just a little tiny bit safer. I think. I like to pretend anyways. So if you're a part of the show tonight, especially, it's kind of a special show.
There he is.
There's Ruff. Is he at the flying?
He's here.
Ruff, what up, dude?
What's
up?
Yeah, so that's super cool. Ruff, I was thinking about you, by the way. I have a little archery set up in the backyard now. So I've been shooting the bow. It's just a little compound my dad gave me. Super cool. So want to talk a little bit about your new podcast. You shared with us just briefly before the show, and I always have to try to stop people on the pre-show because everybody's all fired up as soon as I let them in, and they're, oh yeah, well, we want to talk about this, and I'm like, no, don't talk about it. We're gonna wait till the show.
Wait till the mic is hot.
Yeah, Dave knows. Dave knows what's up. It happens every show.
I'll get a guest in. I'll be like, stop talking. Just wait.
Yeah.
Give me 5 more minutes. We'll start recording.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you had a couple really good shows. So I kind of want to just briefly talk about those, kind of encourage people to go listen to those particular ones and when they're going to be released and all that. So not all of them are released yet.
No.
You said you have 12, right? Right now that are recorded.
I think it's 12 or 14 that are recorded. We've released 5.
Okay, so there you go.
The whole concept, maybe I should start with that, Robert.
Yeah.
I woke up I think it was about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I never watch YouTube anymore. But for some reason, I had this one YouTube video in my feed, and it was from Aviator. And it was Jillian Wintermute. And it was her story. And she talked about how when she was 9 years old, she ingested a rare parasite. And from that, she got Crohn's disease, and how it affected her all through her childhood, her teen years. And then now, what is she doing? She's helping people make dreams come true as one of the lead instructors over at Aviator. Okay.
Wow.
And I was so moved by this story. I actually watched it a couple times. And I looked over at my wife. I said, the reason I said this is enough of the show, there was a couple reasons, but I think the biggest reason for me, as you know, it takes a lot of time and a lot of preparation. And there's a lot of stress, as you well know, and everybody in your audience knows, there's the worry about internet. There's also the worry about, is my guest going to show up? And there's the big worry is, what's Dave and Ripa going to say tonight that's going to embarrass me? Sorry, guys.
They're there.
They're
Right there.
They're right there. So it was a lot of stress. And the most predominant reason was I spent no time at all with my family on Sundays. Just the whole day was a waste. And my wife hated it. And so I said, this is not as important as my family. It's time to let it go. Ripa agreed, and it was time to move on. But after I watched this, I looked at her, I said, I really miss talking to people and recording it. And that was a really thing that brought me joy. How can we do it? And also this idea of doing a podcast where I can record while she's at work during the morning hours before I start working, and have the freedom to edit it to make it sound perfect and not worry about internet or anything else. This seemed like a great idea. So I called it and bounced this idea off a couple friends of mine. I talked to Greg Anthony Harris, as a lot of people know who Greg is. And with Greg, he said, I like the idea. I think it's a great idea, but Sean Smith's around over here. So he said, the problem is, David, he goes, mate, I don't know why he calls me mate. He thinks we're on a boat or something, but he's like, Dave, this should be more than just paramotors. I said, I'm going to call it Paramotor Life. He goes, it needs to be bigger than paramotors. That's just a small audience that we're talking to. And there's a message. Now, in the pre-show, we were talking about Joe Rogan. And for me, it's like, you think about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's got really 3 different types of guests. He's got the mixed martial artists. He's got the comedians, because he was a comedian as well. And then you've got everybody else. Okay. Well, for me, it's a lot of paramotor pilots. So almost all but one of the guests so far has been a paramotor pilot. So it's not like we've just abandoned paramotoring altogether. Sean's now tearing apart my camper. There's a little chaos. Sorry. So here's the thing. And this is, Robert, this is the biggest reason I love going to fly-ins. It's not for the flying. Okay. Most of these fly-ins I've flown in so many times. I've seen it all. It's not really exciting to me anymore. It's talking to people and getting to know people. And through all of these shows that I've done so far, or these podcasts, it's like I'm talking to people that I felt like for 4 or 5 years, I've known these guys pretty well, and I'm learning something new about them every time.
Yeah.
So the idea of the podcast, or the inception, as far as the mission, it came from this. I do in-home sales, and I go to some pretty large homes. And when I'm in these homes, I'm thinking, wow, what did this person do to get this in their life? With a pool in the back, or maybe they've got the amazing vehicle in their garage, or they've got a yacht that they have, or an RV in the driveway. I'm like, wow, these are things I would love to have in my life. I just wish I knew that pathway to get there. And so that's what Beyond the Summit does. It brings in people who have done these great things or have these success stories in life. And we talk about it, and we talk about, what is the pathway that you took to get there. And so as the listeners are listening to this, that should spark ideas in their head of, hey, maybe I can't do that exact same pathway, but there's a pathway I'm thinking about that might help to do the results to achieve the goals that I'm looking to achieve. Not all of these success stories and goals are monetary based. There's success in life. Like, for instance, Jillian, I did have a podcast recording with her. Hers comes out in a couple weeks. And we got a little bit more detail from what the Aviator video was, and talked about, how did this affect your family? And how did you grow from this? And how did your family grow? And how did this bring you stronger? The first episode that I recorded outside of the initial one, which was just my son and I talking about where I saw this going, was Kyle Mooney. And I never knew Kyle studied abroad. He studied, you've had Kyle on the show.
Yeah.
But when you do your shows, and when I do my shows, we're not talking about the person. We're talking about the gear, the experience, the trips, right?
Safety. Yeah.
Safety, exactly. Yep. We never really talk about that person, and what, because paragliding and paramotoring is one small aspect, maybe not small for some people, it's a little bit larger, but it's one aspect of their life. It's not that person. It's not who that person is altogether. So like in Kyle's, he told me that he met his wife while they were both studying in Australia, which came up with a great title of Studying Abroad. Abroad. Get it? Studying
Got it.
abroad. Abroad. All right.
That works
Uh,
good.
The next episode after that was called Taking Calculated Risks. Chucky Wright. You're familiar with Chucky Wright?
Yeah, yeah.
So Chucky Wright was basically answering all my questions. I asked some people, what would you like to know? What are your griefs with Chucky? Did a pretty good job, talking about it, but there was a lot of more layers to Chucky. There's a lot more to him. It's just not paramotoring and flying and taking videos. I mean, this guy is a superstar and a lot of the things that he does. He's an athlete through in and out, and it was really a great conversation that we had.
Is that one out already?
Oh yeah, that came out on August 14th. Okay.
Did you get hate mail from that one?
No, none. No, actually, I got two messages. One said, "Hey, after listening to that podcast, I really feel like I understand him a little bit better." And then I got another person said the guy's full of it. So, mixed messages, but not everybody's.
Interesting.
But
That's a controversial one. So what
Yeah.
made you decide to do that one?
Kurt Fister wasn't available. Sorry, just kidding. No,
I had Kurt on the show.
I know. I
Yeah.
watched it. I made a donation to the show that time just to piss him off. Sorry, I owe you.
That's $10.
I know. Yeah, I'll give it to Sean since I'm
Sean,
here.
just-
Unrelentless too,
Just take it out of his pocket, Sean. You're right there.
Yeah.
So no, why did I want Chucky? Well, because Chucky was one that John said to me right before Our Paramotor Nation was going off the air. He said, you should have this guy Chucky Wright. I said, dude, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm done. I'm burnt out. I'm done. He goes, but this guy's making all these waves. I said, I'm done. And Chucky, actually, I didn't meet him at Bad Apples, but he was at Bad Apples. And there was a little bit of near conflict. And we talk about this on the episode, so I can say it, with him and Rick Davies. Okay. That was handled great. They ended up shaking hands and talking things out. And I'm like, you know what? That gave me a lot of respect. It gave Rick a lot of respect for Chucky. I said, this guy deserves an opportunity to explain himself because he's gotten a bad rap. Let's hear what he has to say. So we really got into it. We talked about his background and all that. After Chucky was Rick, making dreams come true. I wanted to find out, how does a blue collar air conditioned unit guy who is in 130-degree attics in Tampa, Florida, go from that to fulfilling a dream of becoming a business owner of a paramotoring school. And so that's where that episode went. And hopefully people go, gosh, I've always wanted to own my business. This gives me an idea. This past Monday was Tim Gaskins, who you should have Tim on the show. Man, he is a storyteller, and he's one of my best friends. Tim and I talk several times each week. He's the branch manager, as we call him, that's his call sign for the Bad Apples. And he's really is the leader of the Bad Apples Fly and putting it together, which I'm fortunate to be a part of. But in that, we talk about his 25 years of being in the Marines and some stories that he had from it. But the big thing is we talk, and this is the title of the episode, is the moment I found out I had cancer. So I'll share this with you. Tim had a twin brother named Bob. They both got the same rare form of cancer. It was bile duct cancer. And they were both told you have a couple weeks to 2 years to live. Well, Bob made it 2 years. Tim is on year 7 right now.
Wow.
And he's got an extremely positive attitude. So it seemed only fitting that the following week, and this is coming out this coming Monday, this is a great episode. She's a phenomenal young lady. And I say young, she's 24 years old. Sandy Gaskins. Sandy is his niece, so Bob's daughter. She talks about his passing from her perspective, but she has, and I labeled her episode, an attitude of gratitude. At 24 years old, she already owns rental properties. She bought her first house at 20. She is just an amazing spirit, and her laugh is she gets everybody smiling whenever she laughs. Contagious. Thank you. I was going to say infectious, but that wasn't going to be the word I was looking for. Contagious. Thank you, Anthony. September 11th, and I chose this person specifically because it's Patriots Day. I started doing an episode with Todd Todd Scandrett. You and I both had Todd several times on the show. Look at, you're wearing a shirt. There it is. Okay. And when you think of Todd, you think of one thing, Resurgence PPG, right? We got way deep. We talked for 2 hours. No one's going to listen to a podcast for 2 hours. So we made it a 2-part episode. We talked about his time in Afghanistan. We talked about what he went through. And I'll share this little bit with you just to kind of give you a teaser. Todd had 16 days left to go in Afghanistan before he was returning to country. And he had a heart attack. And he was put in the ICU at a hospital. While he was in the ICU with guys that had parts that were really torn off of them, Todd was sitting in the hospital in the ICU. The hospital started getting bombed. So what do? They take everybody that's got a chance to live, in their opinion, they put them in the hallways to triage them there. Todd was left to die.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that, and neither did I. And that's the whole purpose of this. And then I'll tell you right now, I was crying during the episode. Todd was, especially the part 2 episode. We were both crying, especially when Todd talked about his beloved Melanie, who passed away last November, and what he was going through, and how does somebody deal with the loss of a spouse? I couldn't imagine it. And he's such a strong guy, and he just deserves so much love and so much credit. And of course, we talked a little bit about Resurgence as well. The following episode on September 25th is going to be Jillian's, and hers is called Never Lose Hope. You just had him on, what was it, last week or the week before? Todd Falstad, Yankee Paramotor.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about flying. And when Todd and I first talked, I said, "What do you want to talk about?" He says, "How about deregulation of the airlines?" I said, "How about not? How about the whole purpose of what I'm trying to do is talk about the person. I want to get to know the people." I said, "Todd, Todd is a great example of someone that I referred to earlier. He's got a beautiful RV, and his wife works out of the RV. There is nothing I would love to do more than to be able to do something like podcasting or some sort of work where I can take my wife and we can take our wonderful camper and we can hit every national park in the country and be able to work while we travel." Okay. Careful what I wish for. Someone said the peanut gallery. I think that would be amazing. That's our dream. Okay. So he talks about 5 places you must visit. We talked about his life of 31 years as an airline pilot and how wonderful it was that he could take his family all across the world and visit all these amazing places. So at the very end, he was able to talk about how he was able to do that and share with everybody what 5, I think he said 6 different places he would recommend that you visit. We also talked about 9/11. What were you doing at 9/11? How did that affect you, not only professionally, but also personally? I think when we think about 9/11, we just think about the victims. We think about where we were at 9/11. But how about those airline pilots that were so worried about their fellow coworkers? They're sitting there scrambling, going, "Oh my gosh, who's flying right now? Who is in those planes? Did I know that pilot? Did I just fly with that person last month?" So that had an effect on him as well. This past week, I had 2 episodes that we recorded. One comes out on October 9th. A lady named Robin Sachs. She is not a para anything. Robin was a very close friend of mine in high school. She became a motivational speaker, and she talks about how to live stress-free. She's a professional speaker. She has speaking engagements. So to have her on was wonderful. She did a phenomenal job. And the last one I just recorded this week really moved me a lot. We were talking about this briefly in the pre-show. Everybody knows or should know who Anthony Vella is. Anthony's been on Paragliding Talk multiple times. When you see Anthony or you hear Anthony, he's got a beautiful speaking voice. He's very jovial. He's sometimes very comedic, and he knows that he's bearing something deep down inside him, as many of our military personnel, veterans. I know Dave is sitting in the room right now. They compartmentalize things. Tim talked about that and on his episode, and so did Todd as well, Todd Scandrett. And Anthony's never really publicly talked about not everything, but some of the things that he went through. And as we were sitting there talking about, and I really don't want to spoil this, I really want everybody to tune in. he really talked about what he went through while he was in Afghanistan. And to say I didn't have a lump in my throat would be an understatement. There was moments that Anthony had long pauses and you could see in his face, you can't see it because it's not a video, but I was, we could see each other as we were recording, and his mind was back in those fields and all the bad stuff that was happening to him and to his brothers in the fields. And there was a moment where I said, David, you went too far. You shouldn't have taken him to this dark space. But fortunately, he said this was very good for me. And I was thrilled to hear that. So, as you hear, there's a lot of episodes, and I'll give you another example. Never trust a skinny chef, Shane, right? Shane Robbins. He and my mother are going to be doing an episode together with me. Unfortunately, they have something in common that's very, very sad. And I'll mention, he just had his very first flying called Fly It for Gage. Who was Gage? Gage was his son that passed away at age 19. My mother also lost her daughter at age 16 back in 1982. My sister. Okay. So I can never, and actually in my own business last week, I came across a gentleman who just lost his daughter to COVID 3 years ago. And I actually put him in touch with my mom, because there's certain things you and I, thank God, have not experienced, and we can't talk intelligently about it. And we can't by any means show compassion in the way that they need to be shown, but those that have can't. And maybe we haven't lost a child, God forbid we should ever, but maybe we know somebody that has, and maybe we can refer that episode to them so that maybe they can find comfort in it, knowing that they're not alone out there. And so if you think about all these ones, Jillian's and Todd and Tim and Sandy, they all have these stories behind them. They've gone through things that a lot of us haven't gone through. So if that ever happens to us, any of these stories, we can feel like we're not alone. We can learn from what they have to say. And of course, we can share these messages and teachings, with other people. And Robert, I kind of think about, like, with you, it was like, you get out every Sunday. What do? You preach, right? You share, you try to teach. And as I'm listening to some of these amazing people that I'm podcasting with, I'm thinking, and I even said it a couple times, this is some really good teaching that you're talking about right here. This is some good stuff. And I hope people are taking some takeaways from it. In fact, I've even tried to say in the last several episodes, okay, here's our takeaway. With Anthony's, it was, okay, everybody, listeners, the takeaway for this week is, when you see a vet this week or in the next couple weeks, don't just go up to them and say, hey, thank you for the service. Look them in the eye. That's what Anthony said. Look them in the eye and really tell them how much you appreciate them. My personal thing is, I don't just go up to a vet. I go up to the vet's spouse and thank them for taking care of our vet, back then if they did, or now if they are. And I even said, hey, if they're walking to a fast food restaurant, buy them their lunch, buy them their dinner. Show how much you appreciate. Robin, during How to Live a Stress-Free Life, she gives us a lot of great takeaways of how we can live a stress-free life. So I know I've been talking a lot, but it's really a lot of great stuff. I'm super excited where this is going. And as Greg was saying, this is such a bigger thing than just paramotorings, that we can make this. You can reach, I don't know why when a guy talks to me with an English accent, it just works. I said, yeah, you're right. English accent. Mate. He thinks we're on a boat. So he's calling me mate. So that's the direction of the podcast, and it's going to reach a lot of people. It's going to help a lot of people. Yeah, I know that's Rip is going, you're talking so much.
I want to mention a couple sponsors real quick. Nebraska PBG, Josh Bowden, he runs a school in Nebraska. If you're wanting to get some training, you want to learn how to paramotor, want to fly. Somebody shared this with you. He's a great place, great resource. Got just a great wealth of knowledge when it comes to paramotoring, and a cool place to fly from there in Nebraska. So if you want to do that, reach out to him. There's a link in the description if you want to get a hold of him through Facebook. Also want to mention Lone Star Paramotor. Lone Star Paramotor.com is the website. Ron Turan has just a really great group of people there, and he's teaching on a regular basis. So if you want to sign up for some training there, if you're in Texas or you're in that area of the world, great training at LoneStarParamotor.com. Also want to mention Max Acro. MaxAcro.com is the website. Max Marion runs this school, and it's an SIV school. Basically, they take you up over water on a boat. You don't have a motor. You just get towed up and get a few thousand feet. You're on radio with him, and he'll walk you through some things to simulate incidences. It's in a safe way that you're learning, and then you'll by the end you'll come back with just a real confidence under your wing. So some people I've heard over the years, especially paramotor people, that sometimes they fly longer than they should, and by the time they're coming into land, it's bumpy and scary, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's terrifying because I don't like thermals and I don't like bumps and I don't want to have any events. And so going through an SIV will just kind of give you some solidity to what your wing is capable of doing and what it takes to get it out of a mess. So sign up with Max Acro at maxacro.com. So Dave, you make this move. This is a transition from your kind of your network. Would you say that the people that you're involving now, you're talking about people that are not even in the paramotoring necessarily, they may be in your paramotoring community, but do you think that this is going to is this going to affect people that, I mean, you're known for paramotoring, but do you think it's going to be a draw? Are you going to go in a direction that is going to be away from paramotoring eventually? What's the direction?
I'd say yes. I know that's not probably the answer that anybody wants to hear, but I'd say yes. In fact, because even all these episodes, we really don't even talk about paragliding or paramotoring. I'd rather leave that to you. Because again, it's more about learning about the person and their experiences and what can we gain from them in our own lives outside of it.
Sure.
So, and it's had some mostly positive responses. I took what was the Our Paramotor Nation Facebook page, which has over, I think it's like 2,000 people on it. I changed it to Paramotor Life, and I'm getting like 10 new followers every day to 2 days. And
Wow.
then I changed it over to Beyond the Summit. I'm getting like maybe one. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I may lose people that were like, I was just here for paramotoring stuff. Okay.
I wanted to mention something, by the way, and I forgot to say this last week. Two things. One, where obviously the internet is much better for me. So I bought the Starlink so that we can have better internet. And then also I created a Telegram for the show. And there's a link in the description. But if you wanted to join, I think there's yeah, it's on Telegram. So if you're on Telegram, you're already there. You can get the link. It's in the description. If you don't have Telegram, yeah, you do have to download the app. I've heard controversy about it. It's run by Russians or something like that. So at your own risk. I'm already too deep and it's too late for me with all the information that's out there on the internet. It's game over for me. But yeah. So anyways, if you wanted to get some kind of behind the scenes chaos and lots of trolling, if you like to troll, it's a really nice place to come and troll, and lots of memes. So that's really important. We have memes, and we almost communicate exclusively in memes. It's amazing. Yeah. So I don't know how you would find it other than in the chat. Or not in the chat, in the description. I hope I put it in there. Yeah, Telegram. I think it's important here, Dave, when I created the show, and I've said this over the years, the vibe that I was wanting to reproduce is that same feeling that right after you landed and everybody's folding up their wing. And if you're a free flight guy, you know what I'm talking about. You kind of carefully put your wing in its, concertina bag and fold it sideways, and you kind of lay it out and you massage it out, get the air out of there, so you can really pack it into your backpack. And while you're doing that, every single time I fly, there's just this, it's a great energy, unless you landed at the bottom, you had to hike up. But no, I wasn't directing that at anyone, Anthony. But when you're packing up and you're just talking about the day and the thermals and the flying with birds and just that energy, that's what I kind of wanted to recreate. And just like you were saying, there's so much stuff that happens. You know, I haven't been to a whole lot of fly-ins. I've only been maybe 3 or 4, but that energy, that's what I'm after. And I just wonder at what point, if you take the direction one way or the other, I just wonder if it's going to fade or fizzle out if you get too far away from the clan of flying crazies, you know. By the way, I want to mention there's a couple people in the chat. Mark Amundsen just logged in. I haven't seen you forever. What's up, Mark? So glad you're here. Hot Butter Steve also jumped in just now. Slow Days is in here. Kevin Can Fly's in here. Jim CR120. A lot of these guys have been flying when the show's going or whatever, doing something else. So I'm just glad to see you guys. It's like a old school reunion. Super cool. So yeah,
that's a good point that you make. And you know what though? I think, you know, when I walk around the fly-in, you know, there's a lot of people just sitting in groups, and I kind of slip into it. Rip and I walked across the field. We were talking to Brooke Sheffield. We were talking to James Sutherland, you know, and it's not just, hey, how was your flight? It's like, dude, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
You know, we're having real conversations. There's some people who like sports, and we get to know that. So I think if I just stayed with paramotoring, it's a real limited number of people. But if I open it up, it could be huge. Okay. The good news is for all of our paramotoring brothers and sisters is that I know a lot of paramotoring people, and they've got a lot of great success stories. So a lot of those people that you're familiar with will be on the podcast. But you know, that's not just all of us. And that's just not all of who we are. We're so much more. For instance, Robert, I was planning on asking you, you have an amazing story that, unless a lot of people heard the one specific video that you made that I was blown away from, and I remember commenting or sending you some comments about it, your background story is an amazing success story. It's an amazing redemption story, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the type of things that people should hear, because your story, when it's put out to a bigger audience, it's going to affect so many more people. And it has nothing to do with paragliding.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for. You know, you do an amazing job. There's a Monday show, Sean. There's Jade on Wednesday. There's a lot of content out there for safety of paramotoring and paragliding. And I just felt, I think for me, and I think you'll understand this, I just felt once Greg kind of opened my eyes to this, I felt it was almost like a calling to me to do something like this. And the results I'm getting from these first 12 recorded episodes, I'm like, I'm blown away. This is definitely some good stuff here.
My gosh, man, the strength of what we're doing, I think it literally just comes from a super deep down passion to get in the air and fly. When it started, it was, I'm just asking questions of people that I know that are better pilots than I am and trying to learn. At some point, it evolved into, I want to have a place for everyone to come live and talk to people, interact with people, and have this. Do you miss some of that?
A little bit. I do. I enjoyed popping up the questions and joking around. I think that was one of the appeals of Our Paramotor Nation with me and Dave and John, is that we would be joking around so much while we're doing an episode. And we were, right, guys? Do you agree with that?
Did you know Dave and Rip before Our Paramotor Nation? I mean, obviously you knew, you had to know each other.
Boys over there.
Did you guys know each other before these shows? Was it YouTube videos?
No, I met Dave because he came on an episode. That's how we first met. And John, the first time I saw John was when he was your guest and we were at Bad Apples years ago.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was when Gorilla was wearing the bikini top, I think it was. Remember that episode?
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever saw
Robert will take responsibility for the relationships, but not for the breakups.
Right. But I think we met. I don't remember that. I know the show started before I met all of them, but I don't know if they were on the show before I met them. I don't remember. But once we got together, it's like, I mean, these are brothers of mine.
Yeah.
Sean's a brother for the night. He's here. Oh, Dave's saying he knows. Do you want to say?
Yeah, I can. It was because the other guy that was on Our Paramotor Nation.
No. Okay. We're not going to talk about that story.
Jim, CR120, he said, question for David. It seems your shows are now recorded. Will this be permanent? How can someone with questions get them to your guests for the show?
So it's a great question. So I think Anthony put the Facebook link. Did you put that on there, Anthony? Okay, he did.
I did. I'll put it again.
Okay, thanks, Anthony. So, Jim, that's a great question. Yes, it's absolutely going to be recorded from here on out. I love the format that I'm doing now. Absolutely love it. And it's so much more comfortable for me. The questions. So I tried that right before the first episodes with Kyle Mooney and with Chucky Wright. And I got some ridiculous questions, like stuff I'm like, why would I ask these questions? These are just ridiculous. And I'd love to do that again if it was taken seriously. I'm thinking I want to do that again and just say, hey, here's who's coming up. What questions do you have for them? If I use it, I'll mention you in the podcast as well. So, Jim, since you asked that question, I'll try that for the next couple episodes. And the only way to really find that right now is on the Facebook page of Beyond the Summit.
So I have to bring this up. I have probably, if I could just guess, it's about 20 different people that I would absolutely love to have on the show, but they live in Europe. And for them to come on the show would be 3:00 in the morning for them. And I just don't have it in me to ask them to do it. Now, there's been a couple people that I've invited to come on live that have done it, where they
I had
Amelia
Amelia Black from Ozone. It was
Mhm.
3:00 in the morning. The first time she didn't show up, she slept through it. But the second time she did come on. Who else? Giles Fowler in England. He came on.
right?
What's the
Like
worst
that
that
guy.
can happen if you ask?
Okay, now I have asked a couple of them that I was like really passionate about having. Okay, but it's a very selfish request of me to do it, and I kind of have to have the feel from someone else. Like there was one guy said, "Hey, can you find out if you think he would do it?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, he's crazy. He would love that." And he's probably going to be awake anyways. So I'm like, okay, I got some feedback from somebody else, but there is I would love to have Kriegel Maurer on the show. His English is good. I'd also like to have, there's just a handful of people that I would really like to interview and have on the show. But I also thought of doing pre-recorded shows and maybe posting these, maybe doing it like a premiere, where I am still there while it's pre-recorded. I'm still there and people can log in and be in the chat. I thought about doing that. Have you thought about maybe?
We talked about that when we were doing the show, but the appeal of your show, the appeal of the former Our Paramotor Nation was the live chat. People love tuning in and asking those questions live, just like Jim did. Okay. Now, with that being said, especially I think people who are selling products will come on because they want to advertise.
Oh
We
yeah.
had from
Or if they have a
Bitterossi.
school.
What's his? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Fabrizio?
Oh no, you're talking.
From Bitterossi.
Yeah, he passed away.
No, he didn't. So what's his name from? He was at Bad Apples this year. He didn't pass away. So from Bitterossi, we had people. What's his name from Fly Products? Help me. Why am I drawing a blank? Navid Selecki from Fly Products. He came on.
These good people.
These are all people from across the pond, Robert. They'll come on. If you ask them, they will come.
You need to ask.
By the way, Hot Buttered Steve donated $10 to the super chat. He said, when I try to fall asleep at night, I look at a portrait of David, listen to Duran Duran's Hungry Like the Wolf.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He got the picture. It's true. That's all true. Love you, Buttered Steve. Congratulations on your marriage.
Yeah,
should
man.
But seriously, the Brits love Americans. They're really pissed off that they let us go.
Giles is a great guest.
They want
Giles
us back.
we should have on.
They want
We
us
haven't,
back.
we haven't heard from him in a while.
I'd really like to have Marlon Jonat, but I need somebody to confirm with me that he speaks good English.
We'll call him. They'll find out.
I don't know.
Since there's a beautiful thing, it really helps. It's a great way to connect.
Interpretation on Instagram is my only hope to talk to him, because it's all in German. I did message him a long time ago before he had a bajillion followers. He popped out a video. It was so incredible. He's got like 3 different cameras going the whole time. He flies for like, I don't know, hours and hours, and loads a 30-minute video. And I'm thinking, nobody's going to watch a full 30 minutes. And there I was watching the whole thing, and it's in German. And I'm like, gosh, this guy's
I'll
incredible.
talk to him. I speak a little German. Yes,
Oh,
but this is the U.S. Coast Guard, the German Coast Guard. What are you thinking about?
what
Everybody's
do you
like, funny.
think?
You guys
Dave-
don't know what I'm talking about.
Dave Ruff has taught his dog all these commands. The dog is amazing, and it's all in German.
Oh yeah,
I kid you
that's
not.
what is that? Schutzen 3 or something like that? What are they calling?
Belgian,
It's a Belgian waffle. Belgian.
Belgian Malinois.
No, yeah, some.
But
So-
no, the training is called, I thought it was called Schutzen. Is
That's
that
it.
wrong?
That's what he says, Shetson.
Yeah.
Jesus, mouth.
Oh, you're not quite. So yeah, so the answer to that question, I don't have any intentions of doing anything live. I have no intentions of making many more videos unless it's something exciting and profound like the one I just did, 2 weeks
Okay.
ago.
Okay. Yeah, it's just interesting to play. I'm thinking about all these things, and I've got a lot of irons in the fire. So between the church, this show, my kids, I have a grandbaby now. We're in a new house. Jeff
New dog.
Hammond. Yep. I'll keep that on the download. People don't
Oh.
know about that yet.
I do now.
It's Aaron's birthday present.
Whoops.
So
I was gonna get it.
yeah, Anthony.
We'll edit that. See, that's the beauty of not having a live
Yeah.
show. You can edit that.
So
Yeah.
did you already answer this question? Why Mondays?
Because no reason. That's just what I
Because
picked.
Mondays are
It was the
super
on-
boring.
It
We
was
need
the only day
something.
available that there wasn't a show, some other show going on.
I don't know. I just picked, I picked Monday. I thought, okay, it's the beginning of the week. Someone's driving to work on a Monday. Nobody likes a Monday. And so they get in their car, they start driving, they turn on a podcast. That's why I picked Mondays.
There are shows on Mondays.
Monday nights there's a show.
but
Yeah.
Our Paramotor Nation was
7
on Sunday.
Right.
Monday was Clear Prop, right?
Still is, I believe.
Tuesday is that
That's off. That
Ryan
was
Flamingo
Shane's show.
Jade?
No,
Oh, that
Shane
was
did
Shane's.
Tuesday.
Shane's Tuesday.
Wednesday was Dave. And then when Dave went off, then Jade came in on Wednesday.
Jade is Wednesday, and it was Dave. Okay. Thursday's paragliding talk.
Yes.
It's nothing on Friday because
Yeah.
you're just going to go flying.
Right. Same thing with
and-
Saturday.
and nothing on Saturday. So
Probably get low ratings.
yeah, low ratings.
I
Um,
host one Saturday nights at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Everybody's drunk. Nobody remembers though. Nobody remembers. I don't
Nobody
get it. I don't
remembers.
understand why.
We used to do After Dark.
Oh,
And-
Oh yeah.
And Anthony, I think, was the first guest that we had. Weren't you, Anthony?
yeah, that's right.
We've
After Dark, that's
devolved a little
After
bit.
Dark. That was cool. That was the coolest part of the show.
This show
Thanks.
this show has
All the hard
devolved
work meant
to-
nothing.
we let everyone on the after show now. It used to be like exclusive.
You
You know.
had to pay to get on.
Yeah, you
Show
have
the
you have to
money.
be a donator. Yeah. We've devolved. We just don't care anymore. We don't even care about the money anymore. All of us are so filthy rich from the show. We just make it rain, and we're like, anyone can come on now.
So David did a
Except for
really-
Gringo. We don't give him any money.
David did a really cool flight. Are we talking about
Yeah. That's I really actually want to share this video. We can call it a crash video, I think.
that?
It's not a crash video.
It's going on. You're going on the news.
Going on in news.
You know what's funny? So let me set this up. A year ago, I flew into our kids' high school stadium. I got all the approvals I needed. I checked with the FAA. I had ground support. I had the police on notice, and everybody was excited. I flew into the stadium with a game ball for Veterans Night. Okay. And it was awesome. The guy was an amazing. I'm gonna get him on the podcast as well. He used to serve for Reagan on a Secret Service. He did Arlington. Amazing guy. This year we took it a step higher. We flew the American flag flew over the stadium during the national anthem and landed on Home of the Brave. Now, it was just before 7 o'clock. You can see the clouds are very puffy, and it was very thermally. This is me coming in. And so as soon as I came right over the flagpole, my wife thought I was going to hit the flagpole, and I was coming straight into the wind. And then you can see when I land, I get a gust from my left side that pushes the glider over to my right. And it took me down to my right knee, and my right knee got skinned on the turf. And I popped right back up. I didn't even know I was really hurt or that I was bleeding until I got off the field. And the funny thing was, I thought nobody noticed. I was like, okay, maybe no one saw it. No one saw it. And then I get over and I put my glider down next to the fence, and this little boy goes, "Did you just crash and burn?" I'm like, maybe just a little. That's what I said. Maybe a little. So
All right,
That is hilarious.
this is it.
here we go.
Oh, I thought it was at night. Oh, those noisy paramotors.
This poor girl's dreaming of this moment where she gets to sing the national anthem.
Yeah.
I hope everybody's standing right
Nobody's paying attention right
You can see
here.
how the glider's just bouncing all over the place in the thermals too.
Yeah, you're going in a rotor right there. That's why. Oh, those trees. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, crash on the
You know
ground.
what? I did not even notice that on the first time I watched it. You popped up so quick.
What a way to get football into a game.
There you go. That's good.
So you come in, land in the field, and then disconnect and pack up your stuff. Okay, I see what's going on here.
Exactly.
I thought you were going to do like a touch and go or something.
That's awesome.
The best part was hearing all the kids screaming USA, USA. Moving too quick. Little redhead number 9 there. That's my daughter's ex-boyfriend who gave me a dirty look.
Yeah.
He's the one who jinxed you to cry.
He's a little scumbag.
That is hilarious.
We're live.
He missed 2 field goals that night, so karma, you know.
Oh yeah, right.
That's my beautiful
Hey.
wife, Jenny,
Hey.
my daughter Addie, holding up the flag.
Careful, Addie. Don't let that touch the ground.
There you go. You know, and I, it's funny. I talked to Sandrette about this, and I talked to the guy who's the vet about, is it disrespectful to let the flag touch the ground? And they both said similar things. They both said, if you're flying it, then that's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
That's so respectful. And as long as you're not landing and dragging through the mud, and you try to get off the ground as quickly as you can, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's
So it
a
was
good
great.
point.
And if it meant getting hurt again, I would do it again.
If you tried to do that in California, they'd call the FAA on you, and they'd be like, "Yep, this guy he's flying an American flag. That's against FAR regulations." And
They're woke. They don't believe it.
yep, that's against the rules. And we're gonna have a conversation with him and check his tax status, make sure that he's paid up on his taxes. We're gonna check his property. We want to make sure that he's not violating any codes with his property. And
Maybe it should have been a different flag then. No.
yeah, and it depends on what flag you use.
The exhaust is endangering your health. So that's a no-no. The exhaust fume.
Yep, exhaust.
Yeah.
Yep, those are going to be banned
California
soon.
air code.
That's right.
Paramotors are going to be banned in California in 20.
Jim,
Well, you
CR
can
20
fix them, but you can't buy new ones.
Jim CR24 said 20 said, "Good thing you weren't seen kneeling at the anthem."
Well, that's my buddy Mark. So my buddy Mark Ryder, who flies with me, he's one of the 3 remaining tri-state Skywalkers. And he sent me 2 texts. He goes, "You'll do anything to get into a stadium for free, won't you?"
Yeah.
And then he goes, "I love that you took a kneel in honor of the flag."
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's not funny.
Show us your knee, David.
Well, do you have the picture that I sent you a long time ago? It was really
I'm
good.
not showing him
God,
that.
let me-
That's
I
so
got it.
grody.
I got it. Let me see.
You got it, Anthony? All right.
Look,
It's
so
not,
Let me pull it up.
it's not
Thanksgiving.
bad now.
Oh
It
my gosh, it looks like
No.
leprosy.
It's not bad. It's right in
We
Sean's face now.
Yeah.
So for years,
Oh, it
every
feels great.
Thanksgiving, we would play football, and we ended up getting this coach became one of the people that was going to the church, something like that. Somebody knew the coach and got the keys so we could play on this turf.
There you
And
go.
that turf
Oh
is
yeah,
so
look at
brutal.
that.
Oh my word.
That was a
And that's
couple days after.
I was gonna say that's a couple days.
Yeah, because that's already scabbing there. Yeah, it was all
Oh,
like it was all like the middle was. I just took all the skin right off. I didn't even notice it until my wife said something.
I showed him. I've been there, done that.
Oh yeah.
is that that's both your knees, Gringo? How did that happen?
That was
You
6
flying
months
in shorts?
flying with the Raptors, trying to sharpen my skills with the Raptors.
Oh my gosh. See, that's
Yeah.
why I'm afraid of paramotoring.
Yeah, when I first started flying, I got the
Come on,
motorcycle
man.
pants with the knee pads built in, and that
Oh,
saved me a
nice.
few times.
That's pretty smart, actually.
Seriously, all the guys were wearing knee pads. I'm like, I don't know if I joined this group for the right reason, but I'm wearing knee pads now. So
I should have Ripa tell the story, but he saw someone. He's gonna have a video come out tomorrow, I think he said. And he watched a guy. So they've got these, would you call them, pillars? Like these
They're
The air
blind.
pillars.
blocking poles, so people don't drive on the grass. Like these big. It's almost like
Telephone pole.
telephone poles, like cut like 3 foot high telephone poles. Ripa saw a guy fly straight into one
Oh no. Today?
and
Yes.
knocked it completely out.
Yes.
He I guess he walked away.
Yes, he's fine. He's okay.
It was Sean. No.
No. No,
launching.
he was foot launching. He's a pilot. He's been flying for a few years. He is skilled. The wind had shifted on him, and he did correct, but he ran out of field. In my head, I was abort, and then okay, stick to it.
Full
Commit,
commitment.
because
Full commitment.
he had
Target.
no room. But he is fine. He's okay. His gear's okay. He was very fortunate.
He knocked the pole out of the ground and he and the gear's okay.
Yeah.
The pole broke off at the ground level. It was not a solid wooden pole, it was broke down from age. So it did have some weakness to it, but he did hit it and it did break off at the ground level and he's okay. The motor's okay. And
There you go.
Yeah.
By the way, that story was brought to you by Calamity Kite Clinic. For all your kiting needs, the next time you're at a fly-in, look up Sean NASCAR. He will go ahead and get your kiting skills where they need to be.
and where are we at, David?
At the Purdon Fly-In, you can find him here all weekend, 30 feet away from my camper.
Yeah, we're kind of.
Nice.
There you go. I did you a favor.
Thank you.
That was actually really good. That
Oh,
was-
yeah, I can go once or twice.
Hey,
I'm gonna record that and then
can you ask him?
just play it every
use
time.
that. Yeah,
I might copyright you if you do.
yeah. Just record that little section and drop it in.
In 6 months, this show will be 100% AI, Robert.
That's
And everybody
right.
will
Yeah,
be-
yeah. Chat GPT. What is it? GTP
Yeah,
or
so like
GPT, yeah.
GPT? I can have all my questions dialed up for. Oh man, AI is terrifying. By the way, this show is brought to you by Resurgence PBG. Resurgence PBG is a 501c3 that support our men and women of uniform. If you are interested in doing that, you go to resurgencepbg.com. That's the website. Make a donation. What happens with the money goes to these guys that are dealing with PTSD, adaptive recovery type situations. Maybe they're just jacked up, man. Military is hard on families. It's hard on people. And sometimes guys just need a little vision. If they have something to look forward to, change their outlook. Really great organizations. Resurgence PBG is of the top. Actually, I'm not, what do they call that? A philanthropist? Somebody who, yeah, I'm not much for that. I donate to the church. That's it. I keep the church going. That's my thing. But the one other thing that I will support is Resurgence PBG. And so if you can do that, it's amazing. And Todd Scandrett's the man. He's actually one of the episodes that Dave Wolfe did on his podcast.
And
So
he also talks, Robert, in that podcast. Like, I think a lot of people are going, what's been going on with Resurgence? We haven't heard much from that. And he talks a lot about that. What he, imagine what he's been going through in his life
Yeah.
the last several years with his heart and his wife.
yeah,
So he'll talk about that on the podcast.
we're going to go to the after show. Thanks again, Dave, for coming on, and I really appreciate your enthusiasm over the years, and just you've always been kind to me, and just a good sport. I've always had a great time every time that you've been around, and just really appreciate your friendship, and always just encouraging. So thank you guys. If you're supporting the show on Patreon and PayPal, it's literally all your money is going towards Starlink. So we're funneling all of our money into Starlink. So thank you. Thank you all the people that have donated to make the show better. That's where that's going right now. Thank you we pulled the trigger. That's why we're able to see, and seems like it worked pretty good. I'm pleasantly
Still here.
surprised that it
We're
that it
still
worked.
here.
We're connected to satellites in outer space.
We did lose our host for a few moments there at the beginning, but other than that,
Yeah.
it was flawless.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to Elon about that. I don't know why that happened.
I gotta say, I'm pretty proud of myself. I did very well.
Yeah, Sean did good. Yep.
Yep.
Rip, man, he did good too.
Yes, he did.
After show, we're going to go to the after show. There's links in the description. Come join us. Come hang out with us. And if I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in the air. Have a great night, and have a great flying, all you guys that are